Happy New Year's Eve. And I want to send a special Happy New Year's greeting. I'm so sorry to the members of my communities, which would be the Restore and Thrive community, as well as the Thriving Together community, and the Jenny Dean Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group Sunflower Warriors community. Today, my communities received a workbook that can help them with planning for the year 2026, actually way beyond the year 2026. And so this video is going to be a part of what will be used to help fill out that particular guide. So if you're interested in getting a copy of that guide, just type below this video that you want in, and we'll make sure that that is sent to you. And so today, let me just first of all start by saying thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for a few minutes on this last day of 2025, because I know from firsthand experience how easy it is to sit down and look back on a year and look back with harsh reflection and focus a lot on what did not go right. Thank God, many years ago, I was trained to do something so much more different, which is to look back and to pull out all of my successes, to pull out the lessons that I learned, and then to tweak how I wanted to move forward, which is a whole lot more positive than sitting down and beating yourself up. And so I want to slow you down if you are in the process of looking back on the year or looking forward to the year 2026, because year-end assessments can turn into self-criticism so quickly. We start to talk about all of the things that we set out to do that we didn't do. We beat ourselves up for the reasons why. We may look at other people's social media or their reels, or we may revisit all the goals that we didn't complete. And without even realizing what we're doing to ourselves, we start to get into this negative place, and we are carrying ourselves too hard. Because if you were to look back on this year and look at the goals that you set before you came into this year, what you would realize is that life happened. In 2026, things happened during the 2025, my apologies, things happened during the year that might have prevented us from going full force behind everything that we committed to this year. There could have been situations that we had to stop to deal with, and that's why goals need to be flexible. And so right now, if you're holding your feet to the cold, if you are beating yourself up, I'm here to tell you, take a chill pill. What I want to offer you during this conversation is a different sort of framework for how to assess your year. How do you really assess your year from a place of celebrating what you did well, like honor the effort that you put into, even if that effort was just showing up. And then also looking at the reality. Because when we sit down and we create these plans, this is a projection of what we want. And a lot of times it's not married with what reality is or what reality could be. One of my mentors a very long time ago taught me to be prepared for any eventuality. And so as I create my goals, I also ask myself a follow-up question. What could go wrong to derail this plan? And so I identify some of the things that could happen to cause me not to be able to achieve those goals. Where possible, I avoid those things, but some things are unavoidable. And by doing this, what we can do is create momentum without literally shaming ourselves, because our successes can power us to move forward. Okay. So it is my firm belief that we should celebrate everything that we accomplish, every single thing, no matter how small it is. It deserves a bit of celebration. We have overcome a lot in this life. I sat back on my boy, you are going to be 53 in just a matter of days. And it just blew my mind that I've been alive. I've been on earth for more than 50 years. And I celebrate that. I celebrate that because many people didn't make it to 50. And so celebration is how we acknowledge progress honestly. We take a moment to really be grateful for all that we've been able to do, all that we've come through. And this also sets us up to have a bit more clarity so that Our forward movement steps are now consistency instead of survival or exhaustion. It is a totally different ball game when we are just trying to survive and accomplish these goals because they give us a sense of worth, or accomplish these goals because they make us feel a certain way. And so we go and we grind and we grind and we hustle and we hustle and we hustle until we're about to drop down from exhaustion. That is not what 2026 is calling you to. And I believe that one of the reasons people feel so defeated at the end of a year when they didn't accomplish all of their goals is that they created goals that really were not designed to align with their true purpose. Alignment is so important. When we become disconnected from that large vision, when we get into this granular focus of 12 months versus a larger vision, our failures feel heavier because now they're not steps to our success. Okay, we've turned them into something else. So I don't really believe in annual goals. Well, let me rephrase that. I do not believe in isolated annual goals. I believe in anchoring my goals to something larger, something that just cannot be completed in 1 year. Because why are we creating goals for 1 year when we were promised 3 score and 10, and by reason of our strength, more? And so I now create goals in 10-year blocks because it allows me room for growth. It allows me the opportunity to pause and reset. It allows me the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to recalibrate. And so when your goals are anchored properly, not in 1 year blocks that have you harried, but in larger blocks, your future isn't riding on that 1 year. And so you're able to have a larger picture vision um, of what you're working towards. And that's why long term goal setting is essential instead of just New Year's resolutions. And so today, I want to share with you that it is extremely important that we identify those big, long range goals, ideally 10-year goals, and then we reverse engineer that into annual action steps that are realistic, sustainable, and aligned with life. You understand what I mean? So if we have a 10-year goal, we're breaking that down in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10. And so over the course of those 10 years, we can focus on 3 things 1 year, 3 things year 2, versus trying to cram everything into a 12-month period, which is more sustainable. So a 10-year vision doesn't necessarily require rigid planning. It requires that we know every detail about this larger vision, but it gives us a clearer direction. It means year after year, we're anchored to something. Year after year, for 10 years, we have our direction set. And that direction is also going to help us interpret our delays differently. So we're going to look at our the ways that we did not really succeed the way we wanted to. We're going to look at them as setbacks versus failure. We're going to look at them as lessons that we can learn on how to make it better when we attempt that thing or something else in the future. We're grabbing the lessons. And so when we have that direction, it's going to help us feel like we're moving towards something and not really falling apart. And so when you know where you're headed with a long-term goal, you stop demanding that every year you deliver a finished product. Because let's just be honest, some years are for learning, some years are for stabilizing, some years are for the groundwork that's necessary to get to that goal later. And so without that long-term anchor, people are mislabeling. People are taking unnecessary steps because of this 12-year New Year's resolution block, and it is essentially wasting time. So I want to share with you who I believe is a powerful example of this. And one of the people that I've followed over the years is Oprah Winfrey. And I'm not just talking about her because she is famous. I'm talking about her because of her systems, because of the fact that she aligned her values. And I believe in aligning values. I believe that the alignment with the values that matter to me are super important. Those are integrity, service, personal story, and legacy. Like in Oprah's career, Oprah knew that she was going to be a talk show host, but what she also knew was that was not going to be the end of it. What she understood was that the show would be a vehicle and not the destination. So over time, Oprah built her platform to get credibility from her viewers, to build trust, to build connection. And when she started having challenges where she was on TV with that talk show and stepped into producing her own, her followers naturally transitioned with her. This allowed her to expand into publishing, into education, into philanthropy, and into eventually ownership. And none of that happened in 1 year. Like the people that we look at who live successful years, we may look at that and we may say, or live successful lives, we may look at that and we may think that that was an overnight process or a short process. And it isn't a short process. It takes time. Most of the things that Oprah are known for today were as a result of decisions that she made many, many years back. It was anchored to a larger vision of influence and impact. So she did not get success by rushing her results. She got success from alignment, from consistency, and being patient with the process. And all of us can benefit from that lesson. And that's what I want to invite you to do, to look at your life and think about how you want your life to be 10, 20, 30 years from now. My granddaughter is 8 years old, and I am envisioning a life for her where she has financial stability. There are some generational curses that I want to abolish in our family line. And so for me, my big plan vision for my granddaughter's future is that by the time she is 25, she is on a good financial footing. In the meantime, it means that there are certain sacrifices that I will make that she will have to come to understand because they will be explained to her. For instance, I do not buy Christmas gifts. I do not buy birthday gifts. And if I get a birthday gift, it is a small token gift. Throughout the year, I dedicate a percentage of my income to a mutual fund or a government bond for my granddaughter. The mutual fund is compounding, and so the interest adds year over year, and it's something that I can add to on a monthly basis. The bonds do not compound that interest, they just pay out interest. And I started that for her at 5 years old. And over the course of 20 years, this big vision is going to come to life. But it's going to take consistent action on my behalf. And it also takes into consideration the fact that she has to learn financial responsibility. So on a quarterly basis, we go to the bank, she makes deposits. She has a little piggy bank that she puts all her coins in because she is understanding she is building a financial future for herself. And while she may not know or understand fully the depth of that, she is excited about saving to do something. Now, we could save and leave her money in a bank account, but that just doesn't make financial sense to me because banks pay very little interest. And so we save until it gets a particular amount, then we take that amount and we do something for a larger investment. But that's a long-term goal. That's the type of goal setting that I'd like to walk you through. So here are 3 steps that I want to share with you to help you identify your own big goal and then reverse engineer that goal in a way that supports you instead of overwhelms you. So the very first thing in identifying that big goal, that generally matters to you, not what your parents want you to do, not something that's trending. This is something that generally matters to you. That means that you have to be honest because this is a big goal that's going to keep resurfacing over different seasons of your life. It is connected to who you want to become. It's not just about achievement. And so to create this big goal, some of the first things we have to do is ask ourselves, what type of person do I want to be in 10 years from now? Because who we are matters. How do I want to be living 10 years from now? What does that look like? What are the conditions of your life? Consider how you want to experience your work, your relationships, your health, your finances. but and most importantly, your sense of peace. Okay, pay attention to what you're not letting go of, but it's not serving you, or you're not letting go of because it's anchoring you. And even when life gets busy, you're still sticking to that thing. When life gets complicated, you're still drawn to that thing because that reoccurring desire is often pointing you towards your true anchor. I think it was Mike Rura who said, pain births purpose. And so, whatever pains you could be a vehicle to help you birth your purpose as well. So, my encouragement to you is when you figure out all of that, how you want to be living 10 years from now, what your work experience should look like, what your relationship should look like, what your health, your finances, and your peace should look like. Because even as kingdom citizens, we are told to write the vision and make it clear. So the vision is a guide, just like how the wise men found Jesus by following a star that guided them. That vision that we create is the vision that should drive everything that we do. So I want you to write those things down, write them down and describe them as a way of living, not just as an outcome of an accomplishment. Because when your goals are rooted in identity and values, it guides the decisions over your life. And those decisions are never rigid because they have more purpose. The second thing I want to encourage you to do is to define what success really will look like for you at the end of that 10-year period. Success is different for different people. Success isn't just about the accumulation of money. Success could be about peace. It could be about having enough so that you're not stressed out. It could be having a job that you love. Like, success is different for different people. And many people stay frustrated because they never define what that vision really looks like in real human terms. People say they want success, but what is that? What does that represent? People say that they want freedom, but what does that represent? People say that they want balance, but how does that look? Because we have to take the time to sit down and clarify what those things mean to us. Now, in transparency here, I'm going to share with you that one of my goals was to have a successful marriage. My husband and I have been married almost 6 years now. And so the beginning of our marriage, we had some challenges because I came into my marriage as a fiercely independent woman. After doing some inner work, after doing some counseling, there are some things that I came to realize. One was that I had this attitude that I could only depend on myself because so many people had let me down in my life. This is friendships, this is relationships, this is previous romantic relationships. The only person in life that I knew that I could count on was me. And so bringing that into my marriage created a lot of issues because I was no longer just Duquesa. We were two becoming one. My husband came into our marriage with preconceived notions of what a man should be, what that should represent. And he is so happy to be a provider for this family. And so we often had issues surrounding that. And I had to learn. And I want to encourage you to inspect what success really means for you. Because for me, success in marriage means that I could be soft. I felt so many emotions just sharing that just now. That success for me is about, in my marriage, is about being soft. It's about having somebody to lean on. It's about not having to feel like I could only depend on me. It's not adapting to culture that's dictating that both men and women should work and we should do all these different things. No, that's not who we want. That's not what we want for our marriage. We want to be in a marriage where we are interdependent on each other. So I had to learn to let go of some of that fierce independence. I had to learn to trust my husband and to recognize that, you know what, we're working together as a team. And so he will not let me down. And even if he lets me down, we're going to learn together. We're going to move together. And that took me out of survival mode. And that put me in such a feminine mode that my life is like night and day to what it was, simply because I am choosing softness. Feminism can work against us when we are in marriage. And so we have to come to our own conclusions about what success looks like for us in marriage. Okay. So when I talk about defining the second step of defining what success looks like, make sure that you discover that for yourself, because this is where your theory is going to meet your practical. Now, to become an expert at something, it is said to take 10,000 hours of practice. And so, for me and my husband, in this example that I just used, we're going to have to practice. I am going to have to practice that softness, that interdependence. My husband is going to have to practice being vulnerable and open, because men are typically taught that that's not what they should be. So we can have the theory, but if we're not applying the theory in practice, then we won't meet the goal. So I want to encourage you that once you've established your goal, ask yourself on and answer honestly. What would your days feel like? How would your energy be distributed? How would your priorities be protected? What are the steps that you need to take? What do you need to divorce? What do you need to let go of? As I clearly shared just now, I needed to let go of all of the experiences that told me I needed to be independent. Once this picture is clear, it becomes easier to make aligned choices year after year. I do not chase. I do not hustle. I sit in alignment. And I kid you not, just being in alignment has allowed God to lead, to guide, and to bring provision. And so the other thing I benefit from is reduced anxiety. I no longer worry about certain things. And so that makes life so much peaceful, so much more peaceful. And so when success is designed thoughtfully, you stop chasing and you start choosing. Now, the third and final step is reverse engineering your vision 1 year at a time. Okay. Now, many people go wrong in this step because they try to take that 10-year goal and put it into 12 months, and that's just pressure. It's not going to give you the type of progress that you need. Instead, ask yourself, what are the reasonable contributions that I need to make in 2026, in 2027, in 2027, in 2028, and so on toward the larger vision that I've established for my life? So you're still working towards a vision, but now you're making it more achievable. In 2026, what are the 3 action steps that I need to take so that I can sustain this and not be resentful? I'm not resenting that I have to do anything because it's so crammed. Okay. So focus on consistency rather than intensity. 1 or 2 aligned goals repeated faithfully will always outperform long, unrealistic resolutions. Now, I gave you an example of building a future for my granddaughter. And I want to tie that into this right here, because I can take, so we're going to take 20 years, or we are taking 20 years to build a financial freedom so that when she is 25, she has a strong financial footing to stand on. Now, in year 1 and year 2, I can look at that and say, oh, it's not generating enough interest. I can look at it and say, oh, I thought it would be quicker. And if I pull those funds out, then I lose the goal, the 20-year goal, because every year the funds increase. And so every year the payouts become more and more and more. It's just like that with our goals. Every year we're getting closer and closer and closer if we have that 10-year anchor. So this allows you to build momentum, because guess what it's doing? It's respecting our capacity. We can only do so much. It's allowing us to grow without burning out. It's helping us to create a sense of continuity where each year feels connected instead of starting over from scratch every single year. And so as I close and you begin to assess the 2025 year, I want to encourage you to let go of the urge to be harsh with yourself. Take time to see where you've grown. Take time to see what you've completed. Take time to see what you've learned. Find your lessons. Look at what you have survived, because you've made progress. You may not see it because you're not looking for it. You've made progress. And even when our timeline shift, it doesn't mean that we've failed. It means that we're staying anchored to the goal. And if this message resonated with you in any way, I invite you to sit with it. If you'd like a copy of the journal, just type underneath this that you want to get the journaling, and we'll make sure send it to you in your inbox or via email, probably by email, and journal. Just sit with yourself kindly. And if you are in a season where you need support, creating alignment between where you are, where you want to go, knowing how to navigate that, I want you to know that you don't have to do it alone. I do offer coaching. And so if you want to have coaching sessions, we can help coach you through the year of 2026 to set you on that great foundation. And we don't have to rush growth. Growth takes time. What we do, though, is that we anchor it. And so before I go, I'd love for you to share in the comments one thing from this year that you are generally proud of yourself for, even if no one else saw it, because your acknowledgement of it matters more than you even realize. And so thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me. Thank you so much for using the journaling prompt to help you move through 2026 and beyond. As we close 2025, I celebrate you for everything that you've done. I celebrate you for everything that you've come through. I celebrate you for every lesson that you've learned. And I wish you the greatest blessings for 2026, that you sit in purpose, that you find something that anchors you, that you align yourself with the will of God for your life so that He can continue to give you direction, clarity, and success. God bless you. Take care.